In 2023, LVMH posted revenues of €86.2 billion. It owns 75 brands. Its chairman is the richest person on earth. And it all started with a family squabble over luggage. Not a tech disruption, not a visionary product, a squabble over luggage. Remember that. Louis Vuitton was born in 1821 in a small village in eastern France. By 1854, he had opened a trunk-making workshop in Paris. The idea was straightforward: flat-top trunks that could be stacked, practical, elegant, completely revolutionary for the era. The business grew steadily under his son Georges, who introduced the iconic LV monogram canvas in 1896, partly as a design choice, mostly to stop counterfeiting. Even then, the fakes were already a problem. By the mid-20th century, Louis Vuitton was a respected, profitable, family-controlled luxury house, not a global empire. A very successful family business. There is a difference. The family was about to learn that difference the hard way. Meanwhile, across the French luxury landscape, two other houses were navigating their own turbulence. Moet Hennessy, itself, a 1971 merger of champagne maker Moet and Chandon with cognac producer Hennessy, was a drinks giant with prestige but limited retail muscle. In 1987, Moet Hennessy and Louis Vuitton merged. The stated logic was synergy. Vuitton's retail dominance combined with Moet Hennessy's global distribution network. The actual logic was fear. Both companies were worried about hostile takeovers in an era of aggressive corporate raiding. They called the new entity LVMH Moet Hennessy Louis Vuitton. The combined group was valued at an estimated $4 billion. On paper, it was a marriage of equals. In practice, it was two people who barely liked each other agreeing to share a house. Henri Racamier, who ran Louis Vuitton, and Elaine Chevalier, who led Moet Hennessy, clashed almost immediately. The power-sharing arrangement collapsed within months. By 1988, the internal war was open, bitter, and completely undignified for two luxury houses obsessed with appearances. Racamier, desperate for a powerful ally to outmaneuver Chevalier, went looking for a white knight. He found Bernard Arnault. This was, in retrospect, the single most consequential miscalculation in the history of French business. Arnault was 39 years old. He had already demonstrated his appetite in 1984 when he acquired the failing textile conglomerate Boussac, which happened to own Christian Dior, for a symbolic 1 franc. He then systematically sold off the non-luxury assets and kept Dior. Clean, efficient, cold. He was described by contemporaries as charming, soft-spoken, and deeply interested in art and classical piano. He was also, as events would prove, surgically ruthless in a boardroom. The charm was real. So was the ruthlessness. Racamier invited Arnault in to help him win his internal war. Arnault began quietly acquiring LVMH shares on the open market. By January 1989, Arnault, backed by the French bank Lazard and the investment firm Guinness, controlled an estimated 43.5% of LVMH's shares and 35% of voting rights. He had walked in as an ally. He was now the largest shareholder. Racamier reportedly called it a betrayal. Arnault would later describe it as a logical outcome. Two very different ways of saying the same thing. The legal battles were extraordinary. Racamier and the Vuitton family launched a series of lawsuits to block Arnault's control. French courts were involved for years. The whole elegant facade of the luxury world was conducting its war in depositions and injunctions. In 1990, Bernard Arnault was confirmed as chairman and CEO of LVMH. He was 41 years old. He now controlled the world's largest luxury group, and he was just getting started. The Vuitton family retained a role in running their specific brand, but the empire belonged to Arnault. What happened next is the part the business schools actually teach. Arnault's theory was not complicated, but almost no one had executed it at scale. Assemble an unassailable portfolio of the world's most irreplaceable luxury brands. Give each one operational autonomy, but control capital allocation centrally. The logic was defensive as much as offensive. A customer loyal to Dior is still inside the LVMH ecosystem when she buys Givenchy perfume, Dom Perignon champagne, and a Tag Heuer watch. Brands compete with each other so the conglomerate never has to. The acquisitions came relentlessly. Celine in 1996, Sephora in 1997, Thomas Pink in 1999, Emilio Pucci in 2000. Fendi, acquired for a reported $1.3 billion in 2001. Each deal followed the same pattern. Find a prestigious brand with weak capital backing, acquire it, professionalize the management, protect the heritage. Arnault was famously quoted saying he looked for brands with a star quality, meaning they could sell at a premium globally while remaining deeply anchored in their country of origin. Universal desire, local authenticity. The combination is almost impossible to manufacture from scratch, so he bought brands that already had it. The numbers tell the story without embellishment. In 1990, LVMH reported revenues of approximately 4.6 billion francs. By 2000, annual revenues had grown to roughly 11.6 billion euros. By 2010, 20.3 billion euros. By 2019, before the pandemic, 53.7 billion euros. The trajectory is not a growth curve. It is a statement. Louis Vuitton itself became the engine. By the mid-2010s, it was reportedly generating more profit than any other luxury brand on the planet, with operating margins estimated by analysts at between 40 and 45% in strong years. A bag, a wallet, a monogram, 45% margin. In 2019, Arnault attempted perhaps his most audacious acquisition, Tiffany & Co., the American jeweler, for $15.8 billion, the largest luxury sector deal in history at the time. He then tried to walk away from the deal during the COVID-19 pandemic, citing French government pressure. A court battle loomed. He ultimately completed the purchase in January 2021 for a renegotiated $15.8 billion. He blinked, but he still got the brand. By 2023, LVMH became the first European company to surpass a market capitalization of $500 billion briefly. Arnault himself surpassed Elon Musk as the world's wealthiest individual at several points during 2022 and 2023, with a net worth at peak of an estimated $211 billion. The man who bought a company for 1 franc. Here is the lesson, and it is not flattering to the romantic idea of luxury. LVMH proved that scarcity and heritage can be industrialized, if you are disciplined enough never to let the brands feel industrial. The entire operation depends on maintaining the illusion of exclusivity at extraordinary scale. The moment the customer feels the factory, the magic dies. Arnault understood this better than anyone. He invested obsessively in craftsmanship storytelling, in flagship store architecture, in creative directors who made the brands feel alive and unpredictable. The business model is ruthlessly corporate. The presentation is relentlessly human. That tension is the product. Henry Racamier invited a wolf into his house to win an argument. The wolf redecorated. If there is a single rule that this story confirms, it is this. In a boardroom crisis, the person who appears to be helping you should be watched most carefully of all. Next time we go inside the collapse of Sears, a company that was once the Amazon of America and chose, methodically, to destroy itself. Subscribe for more hidden empires.